Hello, everybody. This is Beat 'em Up Wrestling. As we try something new, we are trying to go live instead of recording it and having to edit it.
Yeah.
So bear with us as we go through some trials and tribulations here.
Basically. Trying to figure out how this works.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We are reviewing the AEW Dynamite for August 22nd. This was the Dynamite that was moved from Wednesday to Saturday due to the NBA playoffs.
Yep, and everybody was having a nervous breakdown because there was delay, and then there was fouls, and then there was like during the game. So it was like what, 30-something minutes late? I think it was.
Yeah, but I mean it's because people forget that in basketball, the last couple of minutes is always fouls and timeouts. So
yeah, there was a lot to be had. So it was interesting, to say the least. All right. Do you want me to pull up the card, or do you want me to go ahead and start it?
Yeah, we could start off. It started off with no intro, so it was the Private Party, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy versus the number one contender, Cash Wheeler and Dex Harwood, also known as FTR, and they had Tully with them.
Yeah, that match, I think Private Party, there was always Private Party is always a good tag team, but we've talked about it. Sometimes they have a little bit of slip-ups here and there. Sometimes they rush it a little bit. But it was really nice to see. They looked really good tonight. It was a great way to start the show. I thought they complimented FTR, even though Private Party is more of like high spots and things like that. They looked really good. Yeah, I like the tension building up with FTR. I like that Tully was out there. It kind of reinforces some of the things we were talking about like the staple that might, the grouping that might actually happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought the match was going to end up clean, but it didn't. So it was interesting to see that. But like I said, I'm really glad that Private Party came out, had a really good spot. They looked great, and it was an amazing way to kick off Dynamite, especially since it was pushed back, like you said, and everybody was kind of jonesing for it.
Yeah, and this was going up against pay-per-view and a bunch of other independent wrestling that we still got to catch up. Black Label Pro was also had their event today. Well, they had two events today. Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff going on today. And this match, like I agree with you, this match was really good. I think Private Party people sleep on a lot because people know that they're good.
Yeah.
But since they're not, highlighted a lot, you kind of end up forgetting about them because, we have teams like Lucha Brothers, we have the FTR, Young Bucks, Kenny and Hangman. So, I mean, AEW's tag team division is their number one division. So we always end up forgetting about some people. And this is great because I love the Private Party, and I was super happy that they got a chance to really shine and show what they're capable of doing. And I do agree with you that it looked like Isaiah was being a little bit more conscious about like some of the moves he was doing, because sometimes he goes really, really fast, and that's where mistakes are made. But today he was very clean. And there was a lot of for the people that like psychological storytelling being told, there was a lot of that being told. So yeah, this was a match that I think the 50 plus would enjoy.
No, like you said, I want to just piggyback off the part about Isaiah. You could tell there was a moment where he would breathe. Like there was a moment he would stop. And like those were the times like beforehand, you'd be like, oh no, that's where he could have stopped. And sometimes a slip up would occur. But I like how he saw Tully, Mark Quinn, and pointed at him like, you. Like hand banana from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you. And then everything happened. So it was pretty cool to see that. Yeah, it was, like I said, great way to start off. And then we get into, what was the next thing? Wasn't it like a promo spot?
It was the Jon Moxley promo. This was one of his best promos that we've had during this stay-at-home thing that we can't really say because then YouTube will get mad. But one thing that we had discussed about Moxley is that he really needed an audience, and I think that this time around, his promo was spot on. I don't know if it's because he has more time to actually build the storyline, because I think in one of his interviews he said that the other two contenders that he had, which was Brian Cage and Brodie Lee, they were kind of like spontaneous, so there was not a lot of story building time. And I think this time MJF and him are kind of like giving us that slow build that's kind of really getting us ready for All Out.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And I think not to say Brodie or like Brian Cage because he had Taz, but when Brodie came in, it was still really early when he came into AEW. The same thing with Brian Cage. It happened so quickly. I don't think there was a chance for that like organic storytelling, but MJF is such a good like heel. I mean, he's so good on the mic. I think it had more organic feel to it. And I think it just gave Mox a lot of fuel to use in his promo because his promo was spot on. And sometimes they kind of drag out or they feel like he's kind of repeating himself using the same type of angle. But this was totally fresh. It made it totally exciting for the All Out challenge that they're going to have, especially with the whole little twist that comes up a little bit later. We'll get into that. Though.
So then we get an MJF promo right after this. It's an injured MJF. And he has his assistant, the female assistant that he told to smile, forcing a smile throughout the whole thing. So props to her, keeping the storyline going.
She was so dead inside. Though.
She was like just forcing it. Like, I don't want to smile. But MJF just talking about how, Moxley's a dangerous wrestler and he could injure somebody, and he's not going to be able to enjoy some time with his kids in the future.
He had tears. He was manifesting tears. Give the guy an Oscar.
These two guys, they're really feeding off each other, and I'm loving this. I can't wait for their match and All Out. I think it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, definitely, totally agree. I liked it. Also, shout out to his lawyer. That dude was a star. He delivered a good promo. Like, sometimes they get like extra people in to sell a spot. I'm like, he sold a spot for sure. Like, for sure. I actually really enjoyed that. I like the, hey, Matthew. But yeah, definitely. It was a really cool spot to see. And I just like the whole tie, the scarf. Was that a walker he had? MJF? It was a walker. The dude had like the face thing. It was just, everything was like spot on. It was so promotional. Then at the ringside, he had like MJF campaign going on. So like I just like how everything tied in. There was like a subtle build to it. So it's really good marketing points for MJF, and I just liked it. It was good.
Yeah, and this whole promo was set up so that the lawyer said Moxley has to sign a paper saying that he will not use the paradigm shift because that double arm DDT move is too dangerous, and if he refuses to sign it, then they're going to sue him for his house and everything he owns. Yeah,
basically. Tears in his eyes, people.
Yeah. So the next match was an 8-man action, which was the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix, with the Butcher and the Blade, and they went up against Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and the Natural Nightmares, QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin is fine wine. I'm going to say that again. I love Dustin Rhodes. That dude is amazing. It's not that he's just talented. It's just you can't teach that. That guy's just his wrestling is in his blood. I love him. I love him as a match. This match made him look good again. He wasn't having too many good spots. Like he was having some on Dark and stuff, but this brought him back on Dynamite. He looked amazing. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. It felt a little haphazardly. A little bit. It felt like it didn't gel as good with Jurassic, and I just didn't know if it was just that dynamic or if they were building on the tension between Lucha Bros and the Blade and Butcher and the Blade. I liked when Eddie came out though at the end. The dude's slick. I mean, the Lucha Brothers Latin's like spidey senses have been tingling because like dude is so out for himself. And they all kind of bought it. Like, let's all hug at the end. Who does that? They're like on heels. Let's all just hug it out.
But I agree. The match. I mean, I love watching the Lucha Brothers wrestle, but it's kind of like being used a lot with the Butcher and the Blade and them being used. And in the beginning, they were really happy. We saw some tension during the last Dark, and now in this time, it costed the match with Pentagon pushing the Blade and Jungle Boy taking advantage of it. Yeah, I love Eddie Kingston. He's such a good promo. I'm so glad he's with AEW, and like you said, he has something up his sleeves. I really want Eddie, the Lucha Brothers, and Proud and Powerful to be a faction, because I think for me that gels better than the Butcher and the Blade. But I'm willing to see where this goes, and I wonder what Pac's gonna do when he comes back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm really hoping he kind of manages to come back. And I want it to be sneaky. I don't want like a big announcement. I just kind of want it to be like a sneak attack. Like he just comes out and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? We don't hug this out. We're the Death Triangle.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see, because it's going to be interesting. I wonder if Eddie and Pac are going to have something going on, but yeah, or is this the end of the Death Triangle?
No, I like. Okay. Anyways, next.
Yeah. So we move on to Dr. Britt Baker. She's getting a check-in on her knee, and she hears some kissing going on, and it's of course Kip and Penelope.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do. That's what he wanted to do anyways. He's like, can we go back to making out at the end?
Yeah.
So basically happened, quick little thing is that she offered Penelope free makeup if she joins her in her match with Swole.
And more importantly, 1 year of dental, which I would jump on that.
I mean, it's a pandemic. So,
yeah.
So I mean, anybody wants that for both of them, for Kip and Penelope. It was a 2-for-1 package.
So I guess they're setting up for a handicap match for next week's Dynamite. It's going to be the dentist Britt Baker with Reba Tania and Penelope Ford versus Swole. And Swole's not backing down. She's not scared of anybody. I mean, she even stood up to Brodie, but that's in the main event, so we'll talk about that later. Yeah, so it was just a quick promo just showing the tension that Britt Baker and Swole have. And then we get the Orange Cassidy interview.
This was okay. I mean, I'm interested. I like the vignette. I like what is it? The mimosa.
Yeah.
The
Mimosa Mayhem match.
There you go. Mimosa Mayhem match. It's Jericho at its finest. I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be. I don't know. I feel like I got a little more involved. I wasn't as involved in the last match after I did everything. I kind of was getting a little tired of it, but this was kind of interesting. And I don't know if it's like jabs being thrown, but it was so over the top, the promo. It didn't make any sense. And I feel like he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah, this is Jericho being a troll. He's trolling the internet wrestling fan base. I mean, like you said, the whole vignette is so over the top, so extreme. Like,
it was like something done and made like an iMovie. That's the worst part. Like the scooping of the orange and the pouring of the drink. It was so bad, stock footage, that I'm like, it just has to be a joke.
And then the voiceover too was so over the top. But yeah, I think that it's going to be a good way to end this whole storyline. I think it has to come to a rubber match, since each one won a match. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see this thing end. I think Orange Cassidy is being overexposed during this whole thing with Jericho. So I'm just glad that it's gonna. At least, I think they're gonna do a good match in All Out. I know they're gonna come out there with all they've got, and I mean they both can wrestle, and so yeah, it'll be a good ending. So then we move to a 6-man grudge match: the Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson versus the Dark Order: Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Allin Angels.
The Dark Order took an ass kicking. Nick, once again, the dude's flawless when he flies. Like you just Kenny's gonna kill everybody. I'm gonna keep saying that until he finally does, especially Colt.
Yeah. So. Yeah, this was more of what we've seen of the Elite going through the Dark Order. Yeah, I think that that Reynolds and Silver at this point are just being used as, like, enhancement talent themselves, but they are so great, and I want more for them. I love them in BT. I think they are one of the best segments in BT. So I'm like cheering for them now. Like, I really want more for them. I know that, again, the tag team division is so stacked that they're not going to be in the top contenders anytime soon, but I just kind of want more than them just being squashed every week. But so yeah, then we move on to, speaking of enhancement talent, Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs.
Okay, for the record, Will Hobbs did good. They gave him a chance.
Sure.
They did the whole classic Matt Hardy thing where he says they get a chance to, be offensive and blah blah blah. So I was happy about that. I was happy that he got that chance. It showed him power for a minute there. Darby was on the floor for a while. He was throwing him around. But I'm just gonna skip toward the part that I love the most, which was Ricky Starks coming out at the end. So the match ends. Taz come out. He's on the mic. He says he has another Darby Allin, and Ricky Starks comes out dressed like emo child. He looks just like Darby Allin, but then he says, "I love turtles." And everybody knows that meme. It's the Turtles kid, where all he says like, "How do you feel?" And he's like, "I like turtles." But the fact that he did that and he had emo written on him, I'm sorry, I lost it. It was one of the funniest things that happened like all night today, and I was laughing so damn much. And then later on, when TNT, like the drama, the actual account for Twitter for TNT, they just went in on it too. It was the best thing ever. I think Ricky Starks is going to be definitely a star. He sold that. He came out. I even forgot about him, which is so horrible because I didn't forget. But when he said I had another Darby, I was like, who the hell is this guy? And then when it was him, I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, no, Ricky was amazing in NWA Power. I'm glad that they're using him a little bit more here. I just don't know what the whole thing is. I mean, you got Brian Cage and you got Starks and you got Taz, and they're like focusing on Darby Allin, and it's just Darby Allin does not seem like a threat to them. So I don't know.
No.
I guess it's just Taz got mad that Darby didn't want to take any of his advice, so now they're coming after him. But yeah, it's another thing where I'm like, what's the end goal of this, or where are they going to go with the storyline here? So we'll see what they got. But yeah, so I thought that promo was amazing with Starks. It was really good. He used his whole little promo of pretending to be emo Darby Allin so that Cage could come in and beat up Darby, the real Darby. And then after that whole thing, we got a huge surprise. So Thunder Rosa had been teasing on Twitter that she was going to answer the open challenge. And then today she was like, "Oh, I have some free time today. I wonder what I'm going to watch with my family."
Mm-hmm.
People started tweeting to her, "Hey, you should watch AEW Dynamite. You should watch this."
She even posted the picture of herself in that dress because that was the dress. I was like, that was a fire dress with her makeup on. It looked flawless.
So, yep, she's answering Sheeta's open challenge. I think this is going to be for the All Out. Because they didn't announce when it was going to be, but she also does a great promo saying it's time to represent for women. The women in AEW have been disrespected. It's time to build the division, and there's only one person that could build it, and that's me. Like, she is NWA's women's champion, and she talked like the champion. She presented herself like a champion, and finally we got like a real threat to Sheeta. That's what we've been talking about. Like, Sheeta's title reign has kind of been like, yeah, she wrestled against Penelope Ford, but there hasn't been too much of a threat of who's going to actually take the belt. Now it feels like, okay, there's somebody that could actually come in and take the belt.
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely happy to see that. The deal with the tour of my wife Priscilla. Just literally go into your meme generator, or just like really literally just Google "I love turtles."
Yeah,
and it's like it's the smallest kid in the world, but his face is painted kind of like Darby.
So let's explain that meme real quick. So it was a Halloween news broadcast, and they were doing face paints, and they painted the kid as a zombie, and the news anchor is trying to be like, "Hey, this is a scary zombie. How are you?" And the kid just says, "I like turtles," and freezes up. I mean, it's innocent. It could happen to anybody. I know that if a camera's pointed at me, I don't know what I would say.
Real talk. If you didn't know it was Halloween, that kid looked demented. Like he looked like he was straight in like, "I love turtles." Like
yeah, the kid's a little creepy.
It was the best thing ever, though. Like, you guys don't understand how hard I laughed.
So we come to the match that everybody was kind of scared of.
Yes.
Brandy was coming off really heel. AEW and the AEW shop did something to even...
They trolled us.
Yeah. Make our fears multiply. they released a Nightmare Sisters T-shirt right before this match, so everybody was like, "Wait, new merchandise?"
No, it wasn't the re-release. It was the same one, but they're like, "Don't forget to pick up your Nightmare Sisters gear."
Okay.
Yeah, it was the same one. But I was just like, why are they telling us to go get the gear again? I was like, no, don't do this. Don't do it to Latina Heat. No.
Yeah. So, the match was decent. I think that Diamante, Ibalis, and Ali were great. I'm not gonna go hard on Brandy. I know that she has the least experience out of all of them. But when you put them against the talent that is Ibalis and Diamante, and you put her with Ali, and you finally give them 15 minutes, which was great because usually you only get 3 to 5 minutes. So this was, it feels like AEW is listening to the fans. A lot of fans started asking for more time for the women, and we got it. We got a spotlight spot for them. Medusa came out to present the trophy. And we were
Veda Scott was on commentator.
Yeah, Veda Scott was on commentator, which I want Veda to be on the commentating table. She is amazing, and she shouldn't just be relegated to only women's matches. She could handle them all. She's really good at it. And I think that thankfully the right team won.
Yeah, I mean, I was so certain. And it's not like, okay, so if they would have won, it would have been different if it wasn't the type of heat that was going on of lately. If some of the stuff didn't happen, I think it would have been okay for them to win. But even just then, like even saying it okay, meaning like, I guess, but they really needed to elevate the talent. So I'm really hoping to see Eva Lisa's Allin. You know what I mean? I'm really hoping to see those vignettes soon because I tweeted to Tony after he put the picture of Ivelisse and Diamante up, and I was like, this is what we want. We want more women on Dynamite. We want representation. We want them to be heard and seen. And, I'm not going to say who's, if you follow me on Twitter, some wrestlers liked it and they retweeted it too. And, it's just one of those things where it felt good to see them up there, holding up a Puerto Rican flag, a Cuban flag, and they're good wrestlers,
Yeah.
And like you said, with Thunder Rosa coming in, even for I don't know how long she's going to be there, but it elevates it, and I'm hoping Ali wrestles more because she's amazing. I hope Chris Statlander's, soon to come back, return, and maybe the world will right itself. Riho will come back and things like that. And could you imagine the roster at that point?
Yeah.
The elevation would be amazing.
And the fact that they're doing this open challenge also opens up to bring in other women.
Yeah.
There are a lot of talent out there, and this opens up AEW just like what they did with the TNT belt. This will build your division because it, like how Cody looked like a real champion, and it didn't look like a mid card belt because he was taking on some of the top indie talent. It's going to do the same thing for the women's division. I mean, I know you can't sign them all, but just by bringing them in and having your talent actually have a match and have some kind of a rub, it makes your division look more prestigious. Like, because now it looks like, hey, the NWA champion wants a shot at the belt, so it just makes your belt seem that much more prestigious because now you're getting the attention from another organization.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I definitely agree with all those points. I was looking forward to seeing what's going to happen and where Ivelisse and Diamante go from here. So
yeah, I hope they get signed. They did release 2 women, so I guess it kind of leaves 2 spots for women to be signed, and those 2 would be amazing.
Yeah, and I hope there's maybe a women's battle royale added to All Out like they had before in the past. And it just, I just really, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just really want to see where they're going to go from there. I don't want it to be, this was the build up and a slow fizzle, or even a fast fall. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was really excited. Like, everybody that knows me on Twitter knew that, like, this is what I wanted and this is what I wanted to see. It's nice to see people like us being represented,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely want to see more of this. So on to the next.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, I think that AEW needs to make more tournaments. I really enjoyed this tournament. I enjoyed the tag team tournament they had last year. That's one thing I like from New Japan Pro Wrestling is the tournaments that they have. So AEW, if you're listening, yeah, more tournaments. So then that takes us to the main event, the other surprise of the night. And I think it was the proper move to do. It's the TNT champion. This was Cody's 10th defense. He had 9 successful defenses. Brodie Lee is supposed to be the cult leader. He's supposed to want winners. He lost against Moxley, so I felt like he couldn't lose again.
Yeah.
And man, he came out and just dominated. Like he destroyed. I don't even think Cody had an offensive move, right?
I think for like a second before he was thrown out, or when he was brought back in. Remember when he was thrown out of the ring?
Yeah.
I think either when he came back in, I can't remember specifically. But I don't know, he just looked off, but he didn't say he came in feeling weird or hurt or anything. So I don't know if it's just the cockiness. If they're playing off that, he came in too cocky. And
calling the Prince again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, but definitely the Prince of Wrestling, and they put that tarnish, they put that little spotlight, that gold, that little light on there for Brodie Lee's name because he needed it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been underestimated, for a while. Even though he had gold in other places, it wasn't the same feeling to see him come out there and look dominant, to have a group. It just changed the dynamic and the feel of the Dark Order. Like it made him like, oh shit, like it's the Dark Order.
Yeah.
So
and what stood out for me was when he called out the Dark Order and he had Cody on the ground, and the Dark Order brought out the rest of the Nightmare Family, which was QT and Dustin, and Brodie just looked like a giant.
Yeah,
like he was just standing on top of like these three beat down men, and he looked like a giant. And then I love the little touch that they added where Brandy came out.
Yeah,
and she was like, "I'm gonna defend him. Like you can't, I'm a woman. You're not gonna do anything to me." And then Anna Jay comes out and just chokes her out, makes her go to sleep. And the Dark Order now looks like a real threat. Before they kind of like, we all made jokes and all this stuff, but now the work that Cody did for the belt, where he elevated the TNT belt, helped it becomes a legitimate belt where you see it on Brodie and you're like, okay, now where is he going to take it next? So I wonder what Brodie is going to do. Is he going to have an open challenge too and just run amok,
Yeah. I definitely, I don't know. There were some times where Cody skipped defending the belt, so I don't know if it's going to be a thing where he has to defend it. I don't know if he's going to choose not to defend it. We don't know exactly what like type of tone he's going to have. It'll be interesting to see, like we were talking about BTE. Are they going to still have the paper sting? Is he happy now? How's it going to come across? Or is it the dynamics in the switch? I really hope it doesn't too much, because I really like Silver and Reynolds doing their bits and stuff like that, because there's always still different characters within the Dark Order. But if they could churn on that creepy factor that he kind of had with them, because like Anna Jay, she looked menacing, and I love that. I love the way she looked. And the ending picture of like Cody trying to reach over to Brandy, and they're both like knocked out. Arn's over there, Dustin's knocked out, QT's knocked out. It was a great way to set up for next week. So it's like it's really exciting, even though they've been pushed back till Thursday. Remember Thursday, guys.
Yeah. But my question is, where was the Elite?
Kenny was like, nope.
Yeah, Kenny's like, whoa, yeah, I'm not going out there.
Kenny was like, you know what? I want to kill people. Not that guy.
No.
Not that guy yet. No, I'm like, where's Colt? Colt didn't come out there. If Colt was out there, Kenny would be like, I'm going to kill you, Colt.
Yeah. Well, maybe Kenny was chasing Colt. Maybe that's why Colt didn't come out.
No, man. Kenny was like looking for his chair, ready to sit down. And
yeah.
I don't know. Kenny's going crazy, but yeah, definitely a good Dynamite. It was a really good evening of wrestling. It definitely set it up. Like we said to you guys, there's a lot of independent stuff going on. You guys definitely IWTV, get on that. A lot of good streaming stuff happening. We go into NXT really quick. We could just talk about some of the highlights. Damian Priest won the ladder match. The ladder match for the title.
Yeah, he's North American champion.
Yep. And then we get into Io. Io
defended successfully,
thank God. Even though there was interferences and Rhea Ripley came out, but she kind of had a menacing look at Io as she stood there with the championship belt. And then we get into the last match of the night, Karrion Kross. Sorry, Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee. It was an okay match. I thought it was all right. I don't think it was the strongest maybe match. But there was build up. There was a few times where you really thought each one was going to go down. But yeah, Kross came up on top.
That match was more about storytelling than it was about anything else. But yeah, so we'll probably talk a little bit more about WWE's pay-per-views tomorrow, because I know we have SummerSlam. We have the All Elite Friends coming up this week. I think we have the Round Table coming up, right?
Round Table next week. We have a couple of friends that were going to be joining us. It's probably like 8 of us. Going to be talking about all things AEW and wrestling related. We're going to be talking about the women's division, our predictions for All Out. So we're going to be doing it after next week's Dynamite. But we'll talk more about WWE tomorrow after SummerSlam and the Thunderdome. Our thoughts on all that. We'll get into that. But it was a good night for wrestling, but fall and pray. I love Scarlett. Okay.
So thanks everybody that joined us live. This is the first time we've done live. This was just a test. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully we did okay. We will have guests. We will have different stuff coming up, and we will let you guys know. So you could follow us on Beat 'em Up WP on Twitter. Instagram, I believe, is the same thing. And then you could also check out our website, and that is beatemupwp.com. So yeah.
We'll have our pro wrestling crates unboxing going up. If you haven't checked out, we just did a new elite librarians, me and my friend Beth. We're real librarians, and we're talking about wrestling, and I hope to have her back on soon. And like Jack said, our roundtable's coming up, and hopefully we'll have another episode of All Elite Friends coming to you guys real soon. But thank you guys for everybody that come and said hi. Jolise, Lisa, Matthew, what was the other guy's name that was on our page? Anthony, thank you everybody for putting messages on my page too. Love you guys for supporting us as always.
Thank you guys. Goodbye.